Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're all well. So today I want to talk about something that is rather important and very close to my heart, and actually one of the fundamental reasons I started doing this. And that is the Stop Killing Games movement. Look, this has been going on for some time now, and things are becoming more and more serious. Now, if you've been in the loop, Stop Killing Games is now in a position that it can actually make a real difference. But unfortunately, it's facing yet another adversary, and this time is the big corporate lobbyist fat suits who claim that they care for you and me. When in actuality, it is all a guise to fool the general consumer so they get to keep their shares and line their pockets with our money. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. If these multimillionaire, billionaire executives that constantly say that they care so much about you and me, then how is it that they're meeting privately with the members of European Parliament, including the CEO of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, and of course, people from ESA? I mean, if it's me that you care for, I would actually like to be in the loop. I would like to hear what you are discussing publicly and transparent. But instead, these folks want to talk and debate and have their decisions made behind closed doors without you and me or our representative, in this case, Stop Killing Games, being included. After seeing something like this happening, I don't know about you guys, but I'm skeptical of believing someone caring for me, but the talks are done in private. The decisions are made without our knowledge. And then a couple days or months later, they just ask of me to do what they want. And if I don't, I'm steamrolled as a consumer, as a customer, and I have to comply. Now that doesn't really sound in goodwill and with care, does it now? Now, you might ask yourself why all of this is happening in the first place. You see, all of this effort that is being put into place is because they don't want you or me as the consumer to own anything. Look, if you remember well, this all started when Ubisoft mentioned they were taking one of their long running IPs, The Crew, offline. The Crew was launched in 2014, and all of a sudden, on March 31st, 2024, it was going to be permanently shut down. This started a huge, significant backlash because people had rightfully paid for this game. They had bought it, okay? They own the game now. So, how would you feel that all of a sudden the company that has put the game out for a decade, only a decade by the way, is saying, yeah, that's it, we're launching Crew 2 and we're done with this game and we're taking it offline? It's a huge betrayal of the trust that the customer has with you or within you as the company. And more often than not, you see these companies kind of bitching and moaning about this, that, oh, like, how come we received this backlash? And all, like, I'm kind of confused as to why they don't understand this is a breach of trust. And, like, just look at it this way. In the old ages, a farmer might swap a grain for a toolmaker's axe or pottery. Okay, a hunter could trade meat or hides for tools, for clothing, for ornaments. Yeah? Back then, we didn't have money. Okay? And now people have bought something that you, as a company, are shutting its services only 10 years after its launch. What do you think the general public is going to feel like when all of a sudden their rights of ownership is being usurped out of their hands? The reason why I've titled this video, "You Will Own Nothing and You Will Be Happy," is because it's a recurrent theme now. I'll expand on what I mean by that. Part of this idea comes from the subscription model of business, which, don't get me wrong, it can be good, but it can also be incredibly greedy and destructive. But what I mean is that the idea of subscriptions being rolled out for everything installs the idea that evidently you will own nothing and you will have to pay a subscription fee to keep a hold of the service that you want to have. Look at it this way. By streamlining movies and making it a subscription thing, more people can access it, but let's not forget, people used to go to Blockbuster and get what they wanted and leave. That's it. It was that simple. I mean, we didn't have Blockbuster. I remember we had this place like similar to Blockbuster back home, which we called it Video Club, which is another version of saying Video Club. It was kind of like it was a shop. My grandmother, bless her heart, she would go there and she would get these old movies for the VHS that she had. So she had a big box of these old movies. And at times, some of them were bought, purchased, and some of them were on rent, basically. And if we liked what the one that she was renting, we'd be like, Ma, can you buy this? We would, and then she'd be like, oh, you like it that much? We'd be like, yeah, yeah, we gotta have this. And then a day after, she would go with the product that she already had rented, take it back to the video club, and then basically be like, okay, can I buy this from you? And the gentleman there would be like, okay, fine, yeah, that's the fee. You would purchase it. That's it. End of story. Nowadays, it's completely backwards. If you want to watch this particular movie, you have to have this particular channel subscription. If you want to watch that movie, you have to have that company's particular subscription. And even for sports, if you want to watch this sport, you got to have this channel subscription. If you want to watch this sport, you got to have that subscription. Like, it's just way too greedy at this point. So now you might say, so Tom, what does this have to do with games or the Stop Killing Games movement for that fact? How do they even relate to each other? You see, the whole point of this movement is that these greedy companies want to make the one-time purchase method completely irrelevant and take that business model and completely derail it off the track. So, evidently, you never own anything, so you have to be dependent on them for the foreseeable future. You see, the idea of you or me owning something and not bothering these guys scares them. Because they're like, oh my God, what if I can't get my greasy palms on this guy's money? Or what if that guy doesn't purchase my subscription or my product the next year? It's just greed. And quite frankly, the general public has realized that. These corporate fat suits are insatiable. Hence the Stop Killing Games movement being in the place. You see, the whole idea of Stop Killing Games movement is not exactly about right now. It's about 5 or 10 years in the future. This whole movement is trying to stop companies from shutting down games after a year of service, because believe it or not, it will get to that one day. If it can happen to a game that's only been out there for 10 years, it will happen at some point to a game that's only been introduced 1 year. I mean, just look at Call of Duty. They forced everyone to play Warzone 2.0, and we all saw how that turned out. Stop Killing Games is trying to stop these corporate fat suits from endlessly producing games year in, year out with the same mechanics and the same aesthetics and no new ingenuity in the place. It stops them from baiting people with nostalgia to make you buy something that they disingenuously talk and advertise it, and it's not what it's advertised exactly. Look at it this way. If Stop Killing Games is not in the place to keep these insatiable corporate fat suits in check, they will take games offline whenever they want. And you and me cannot ask any questions. They won't listen to the players. They will ruin the franchise that we love, and eventually we will reach a point where these guys won't be accountable for anything. Can you imagine if you bought the game and they decide we want to make another one, so we're discarding this one, we're taking it offline, and you say, oh, well, I love this one. What's wrong with this one? I just want to keep playing this one. And they'll be like, no, the new one is better. Just buy the new one, play the new one. And imagine that you actually get the new one and the new one sucks. And you want to play the previous installment. And all of a sudden, nope, you can't have it. They turn around and tell you, sorry, that's not available anymore. And you said, well, I paid for it. I bought it with my own money. I have the right to use it. It is mine. And they'll say, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't stand for that kind of bullshit. I really don't. Here's another way to look at this. We have electric cars from Tesla right now that you can pay a subscription monthly for premium or whatever they call it features like traffic visualization or full self drive. Mark my words, there will be a day where they will tell you you need to pay a subscription fee to actually be able to drive the freaking car. Like, oh my goodness, dude. Like, what world do we live in? Like, imagine not owning your own car. Like, what the hell is that? You see, that's also the same idea of keeping you dependent on them. Think about it this way. You have a Chevy Impala 67 and you bought this car. And that's a car for life, by the way. And now some guy one day comes and knocks on your door and says, well, sir, we can't have you drive that car around anymore. You know, you got to have an electric car. And you'd be like, well, what the hell is that? I don't want that. I'm happy with what I got. You know, it's not a new shiny model like what you guys are producing, but I love it. Well, sir, it's not good for the environment. You know, it's not really efficient and all that, you know. By the way, you don't even have to pay for the car. And you'd be like, what the hell? What are you talking about? You're like, yes, sir, you can just subscribe and you pay a monthly payment. And you can drive this car around as long as you want, as much as you want, but you just pay us monthly. You don't even have to. So effectively, that means you don't own the car. It's not your car, is it? I'm sorry, but if it's me, and that's the reality where things are going, I just got two words to say. Fuck off. We got the CEO of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, alongside the Entertainment Software Association, the ESA, that are actively trying to stop this movement from moving forward. And their defense is a bunch of excuses like, oh, you don't understand how online games work. In order for the games to run for a long period of time, they need to have infrastructure, maintenance to keep the online status of the game, and the game would need to have moderators and the staff to release update patches alongside licensing music and rights of purchase, which in this case, the very information these guys are providing is telling on them. These corporate fat suits think the consumers can read between the lines that are filled full of lies. And the actual thing that these guys are pointing out with all of this information is basically them saying, look, we can't run this more than a couple of years without charging you again. Your one-time purchase is not enough, so we cut the service short, so we build the same game next year with a bit of tweaking, then we repackage the same bullshit and resell it to you. These guys don't want to put the effort of actually realizing and understanding that an IP and a franchise that runs longer than 10 years, longer than 15 years, longer than 20 years is a privilege. It's an honor. It's you getting more popular. And then once you want to release something else, the money that you're going to get, the amount of popularity that's going to come your way, and the new players that you're going to bring, it's going to be tenfold, hundredfold because of the service you've shown. And instead of doing that, they want to commit to this short-term plan of year-in, year-out releases that have no changes. It's a bit of tweaking in the mechanics. It's the same bullshit from the previous year, just repackaged, and they sell it back to you again. Just because they don't want to put the effort of actually putting something out there that is long-lasting. It has a long-term plan built in the infrastructure that makes sure that if they want to release something 10 or 20 years after the fact, you can still come back and play this. You can still play the predecessor, like the games on PS1 or PS2. I mean, you can still play Third Strike. We have SF6. I play SF6, but do I still love Third Strike? Of course I do. Third Strike is the best fighting game of all fucking time created. So, it has that plan in the work that, yes, someone wants to come back and play this, they can still do that. These guys don't want to put the effort to create something like that. I mean, just look at Call of Duty. Put the lazy story writing aside. If you put every multiplayer mode of every Call of Duty since Call of Duty Cold War that was released in 2020, alongside one another, they're all the same. The only difference is a slight change of movement when you jump or slide or vault over something. And then they slap a name like, oh, it's omnidirection or some other bullshit. And then they repackage the very same game, same aesthetics, same visuals, same graphics, all of that. And they repackage this shit and resell it back to you again. These corporate greaseballs claim that the predecessor is outdated no matter if it's 1 year or 10 years old, and every dollar and resource that they have should be spent on the new shiny installment with the new supposed technology, which in reality there is no new technology. They say all of this just to try and get away with it when they are questioned about their business model, which only lines their pockets with more money and evidently hurts the consumer. All of this is just a way for them to confuse you and me and the European Parliament with this nonsense about what the actual aim of the Stop Killing Games movement is. So they get to keep their shares and keep making more money. Because who cares for the consumer, right? Screw the consumer. Let's just get the bag. I mean, what a pathetic attempt, honestly. Now, mind you, their tactic is to make this about the live service games. But this couldn't be further from the truth because they can just as easily do this with the single player games. Imagine that they use the excuse of, oh, we couldn't reach an agreement for the music licensing, so we had to take the game offline and shut the service permanently. And then a couple months later, they reveal their new, shiny, fully licensed game at a showcasing like State of Play or Summer Games Fest, and then they'll do the exact same routine of baiting you and me with nostalgia and the love of the franchise to buy their next supposed new game. Which isn't, but they'll say it is. I know you might say, well, it hasn't happened yet, but let's not forget, we all thought buying discs or the disc version or the hard copy and actually holding the physical copies in hand like money would be forever. Well, tell me this. When was the last time you wanted to buy the physical copy of a game or even pre-order it, but you can't? For the past 3 years, I've been trying to buy physical copies, and every time I've hit a dead end. I actually talked with someone who had been working in the Game Shop UK for a very long time, and he said, companies just don't send us physical copies as much as they used to. He showed me a log of their warehouse, and he said, 5 years ago, we would get between 20 to 30 pre-ordered copies. Deluxe version, ultimate version, whatnot. Yeah? And hundreds of standard editions. Now, we get maximum 50 standard editions and maybe 2 or 3 pre-ordered copies. He went on to say, it's not because people won't order them. I mean, I'm aware as much as he was aware that 90% of people just rather buy something online. They just press the button of purchasing it and that's it. You own it. Yeah? But there are still customers who want to buy physical copies. And the companies just won't send them as much as they used to. The maximum of pre-orders has been 2 to 3. Look, all of this has happened in a matter of 5 years. Imagine if Stop Killing Games movement can't stop what these guys are trying to do, which is taking your right away from saying, I have bought this product, I am the owner, and I am owed a service. Then these greedy CEOs will keep on milking us for our money and even increase the prices, which they already have, by the way, even more. And then soon enough, they will find themselves under this umbrella of immunity that was created by their excuses and lies to the parliament, and they will be able to use the loopholes they have created themselves under the guise of care for the customer and get away with whatever they want. And then we can't question them and won't be able to hold them accountable. It's all about them confusing everyone so they get what they want. You being able to play a game and a game actively being maintained by constant update patches are two different things. There are a lot of single player games out there that they play just as the same as the day they were launched. No issues whatsoever. So no one is asking for updates or anything. So now to use that as an excuse to get away with their argument of we can't keep these games active because it costs is absolutely disingenuous and just outright lying. You see, if these companies put together a preservation plan, as I mentioned before, which I believe can be done early on in development and it can also be done cost efficiently, then there would be no excuse. You see, they won't do it because they can't sell anything more to you if they do that. They won't be able to repackage the same game, just a bit of tweaking in it, and sell it to you a year later. Which ultimately, all of this boils down to the trust, which I don't understand. Honestly, I don't understand how they're going to go forward with this, because ultimately this breaks the consumer and the customer's trust towards those companies and franchises, and they'll just stop being consumers. They'll stop being your customers. They'll go elsewhere. You'll stop making money by the very same thing, by the very same bullshit they're peddling. They will lose money, millions upon millions, and ultimately have to shut down the studios, which we've seen happen multiple times. But yeah, I want to urge the public, the gamers, the consumers, the people who are interested in this. I mentioned this earlier in the video, that this was one of the reasons I started doing this. I never had the intention of doing this in the first place. I just wanted to play my games. I just wanted to continue playing them. The old ones, the new ones, all of them. I love them. But some corporate fatsuit is getting in my way. And I can see the trajectory of things. I can see how things are moving forward. I can see what they're trying to do, and I can call the bullshit. So that is a very huge reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Why I've started this channel, why I'm trying to urge the public to follow what the Stop Killing Games movement is doing and follow closely what they're doing. Follow them on X. Just keep actively listening to them to see what kind of strides they're making. Because it's very important. The day we stop caring about ourselves and think some corporate fatsuit cares more about us than lining his own pockets, then that's the day we've lost. Because these guys don't give a shit about it. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it as it is. These guys don't give a shit about anybody else. They don't. They care about their money and lining their pockets with shares and money. Just that. They don't care if the game does well, if it doesn't, if it goes on for a year, 2, 3, 5, 10. They don't care about any of that. They just ask us to be consumers, own nothing, be happy, don't question us, and just mindlessly consume. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know how you feel about all this. Come into the comment section, have a chat with me, and yeah, just keep following Stop Killing Games, and try to, if they put out the link to vote for the parliament and actually have your voice heard, please do that. I urge you to do that. But yeah, that's it. I hope you stay safe, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Peace be with you.